The glamour of fame casts a great shadow over celebrities, where charm and admirability acts as a cloak, hiding the darker truths within. Eventually, though, the drapes of the robe are bound to be drawn back, exposing a sinister nature and dismantling the facade. Number 10. Lovecraft Country was the mini-series that would project one rising star into the public eye. Jonathan Majors portrayed the main character, Atticus Freeman. The show was so well received that it landed the aspiring actor roles in other films, including the boxing drama Creed III. As he continued to make his way through the ranks, Majors would see himself being cast as the villain Kang the Conqueror in the Marvel series. This dream, though, would take an abrupt turn into a living nightmare. The celebrated actor, given his rise to stardom, would soon be finding himself on several talk shows with prominent media personalities. One such talk show was The Late Show with Stephen Colbert in February of 2023. It was during this interview that Majors' ego was revealed. The conversation started off seemingly normal. The host spoke to his guest about the upcoming movies and his role in the Marvel Universe, as well as the mystery surrounding the actor's habit of carrying around a tiny cup wherever he goes. He also described himself as the gateway to becoming the most desirable man alive, jokingly touched the host, pulled away, and then suggested that he was now the most desirable man. At one point, while showing Majors an action figure of his Marvel character, Colbert reaches for his guest's biceps to demonstrate the difference between the figure and the actor. Immediately, the host apologizes and remarks that consent is so important, to which Majors agrees. This statement would become rather eerie not long after. The actor continues his persona of uprising star during the course of the interview, not knowing that it would all be ripped away soon after a distressing accusation that would capture media attention and send off a ripple of repercussions. Just 1 month after his interview with Colbert, Majors would face a serious allegation made by his ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari. She revealed that the actor was not only harassing her, but that he assaulted her too. Initially, it began as a mere rumor that circulated Hollywood, but it was soon big enough to catch the attention of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Due to the allegations of domestic violence, Majors would be extensively investigated and was ultimately found guilty. That same month, he'd be charged with assault, aggravated harassment, attempted assault, and harassment. Number 9. One of the biggest names in the rock genre of music is Marilyn Manson, whose dark portrayals and sinister lyrics offered entertainment, distressing, but entertainment nonetheless. Manson, the American singer, songwriter, and actor, was best known for his rock band, which he co-founded with Scott Patesky. The musician undoubtedly challenged societal norms, but in doing so, he would provoke some strong reactions within the music industry. On par with Manson, in the world of journalism, in terms of fame, is filmmaker and journalist Michael Moore. One of his most well-received yet controversial documentaries was Bowling for Columbine, where Moore sets out to track down the roots of why the streets of the United States are metaphorically stained red. The US has become notorious for its incredible number of slayings by firearm for a developed society without an ongoing civil war. Moore intended to learn of the nation's violent history and hopes to explain the cause behind the carnage. He takes a look at several cultural factors of America, including bigotry, fear, and violence, and their connections to firearm violence. During his endeavor, Moore interviews many individuals, one of whom was Marilyn Manson, whose words still echo today. Manson found himself and his music being blamed for the onslaught and explained that he can understand why they would pick him as the one to point the finger at. He's just one walking controversy. The singer stresses that it would be easy to post his face to symbolize fear and tension, due to his manner of doing what he wants and saying what he wants. It would be this very statement that would reemerge in the wake of the Me Too movement, where people in the entertainment industry began speaking out about the abuses they'd faced in the business. It would be Evan Rachel Wood, a former partner of Manson's, who would begin to circulate a startling rumor. According to her, the man abused her throughout the entirety of their relationship. She even said that she was groomed by the musician from an early age, brainwashed and manipulated. Manson, of course, denied the allegations, calling them a distortion of reality. But Wood wasn't the only one to make such allegations. Another 4 women would come forward too, citing claims of verbal abuse, violence, coercion, and more. Each suggested that they suffered PTSD as a result of Manson's treatment of them. And it didn't take long for the sympathetic victim facade to fall away. The controversial star's statements to Moore indicated that he was being wrongfully chosen as an emblem of evil, but was really a victim of hypocrisy and stereotyping. Despite the allegations and the forthcomingness of victims, the most Manson would face was a $326,956 charge to Wood for legal fees, which she accumulated in an effort to defend herself against Manson's defamation claims, who subsequently dropped the lawsuit against her and agreed to pay the fees. Perhaps there was more darkness lingering behind the soft-spoken singer after all. Number 8. Piers Morgan, a British journalist and media figure, garnered much controversy around his name for aggressive tactics in breaking stories. Despite this negative attention, he still rose to fame and became a television personality. So well liked was Morgan in the entertainment community that he was given his very own talk show, Piers Morgan Tonight. He even appeared as a judge on America's Got Talent through a personal invitation from his friend Simon Cowell. Another individual drawn to Morgan was dark comedy actor Kevin Spacey, who stars in Baby Driver, Horrible Bosses, Moon, and American Beauty. It was in June of 2024 when the 2 celebrity personalities collided on Piers Morgan Uncensored, but it certainly wasn't in good light. It was during the interview that Spacey would make quite the admission right on television. The conversation starts with Morgan asking about his guest's purported bad behavior that he committed, and what he meant by that statement. Spacey, in response, admits to pushing the boundaries by being too handsy. What he meant by this was that he was non-consensually touching individuals inappropriately. The host then goes on to express that many people consider such acts to be a crime. Spacey explains that his acts were more of a caress than anything else, suggesting more of a flirtation signal and stating that if someone repelled the attempt, it would immediately stop. But this isn't what some victims were alleging happened during their encounters with the actor, including 10 men who would appear on a 2-part documentary, Spacey Unmasked, claiming that they experienced unwanted behavior from the accused. These allegations span decades, starting in 1976 through to 2013. Prior to his interview with Morgan, he denied these claims, but as time went on, more people began speaking out. The scandal would lead to the swift downfall of the 2-time Oscar winner, who was fired from the Netflix show House of Cards and was removed from the film project All the Money in the World. Both Spacey's agent and publicist would drop him as a client too. As of 2025, his downfall still isn't over. In February, it was announced that he now faces yet another assault lawsuit in the UK, bringing the total to at least 3 civil lawsuits against him. Number 7. From working in a video store to becoming a world-famous director, Quentin Tarantino really made a name for himself. It was through films like Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction that he would earn himself a spot in the nominations for the Academy Awards and the Golden Globe. The screenwriter's films are characterized by a neo-noir style that incorporates violence, sharp dialogue, and elements of pop culture. Good films wouldn't be the only thing that Tarantino would become famous for, though. In 2013, one particular interview would go viral online. It was packed with intensity, intimidation, and drama. The director sat down for an interview with Channel 4 news host Krishnan Guru Murthy. And what unfolded became one of the creepiest engagements ever seen on TV. The conversation begins in an ordinary manner, in which the pair started off chatting about the upcoming film, Django. But it would soon take a rapid turn when Murthy began asking a different set of questions. Curious about the violent elements present within most of Tarantino's films, he decided to press him for answers, saying, quote, "Everyone knows you make violent movies. You like violent movies," he expressed. Murthy asks his guest if he gets a kick out of such films, to which the guest simply responds that he believes it's good cinema. Then there came the ultimate conundrum that would send the interview spiraling. Why are you so sure there's no link between enjoying movie violence and enjoying real violence? The interview pondered. Tarantino, maintaining some composure at this point, tells his host not to ask him such questions and refuses to answer them. "You can't make me dance to your tune," he expresses, becoming visibly more frustrated. For several more minutes, he continues to tell Murthy that he will not answer such a question. It's none of his business, and that he doesn't need to explain his vision. Eventually, the situation calms down and the rest of the interview continues as normal. The intense moment, though, would leave viewers and fans shaken by Tarantino's avoidance of the question, his anger, and his evasiveness on the topic of violence. It would also be this interview that reminded viewers of a similar outburst years earlier. In that conversation, the interviewer asks why there's a need for so much gruesome graphic violence, to which the director harrowingly responds, because it's fun. At the time that both of these interviews came out, they were viewed as nothing more than a tantrum, a behavior that seemingly followed Tarantino throughout his career. But in light of revelations in 2018, the director's evasiveness and refusal to reflect on the social ramifications seemed to have been an early indicator of a broader pattern, neglecting accountability and refusing to speak out. It was that year that he revealed something truly nightmarish, which would prove problematic for his career. Tarantino expressed that he knew more about the misconduct carried out by Harvey Weinstein than he was letting on, and that he'd known about it for a very long time. According to him, he knew enough to do more than he did. Adding to this revelation was Uma Thurman's accusations against the famous celebrity, suggesting that she was forced to perform an incredibly dangerous car stunt that left her neck and knees permanently damaged. Allegedly, she was threatened by Tarantino into doing the stunt. According to these implications was another disturbing proclamation that came in the form of a recording. In it, Tarantino could be heard defending Roman Polanski, a man who assaulted a young woman, for which he would later apologize. These revelations would reframe that 2013 interview with Channel 4 News, showcasing a pattern of neglecting accountability, refusal to reflect, and to justify. Number 6. Comedian, writer, director, producer, and actor Louis C.K. did it all. His career began as a teenager when he started performing stand-up comedy shows. In the early 90s, he even worked as a staff writer for a talk show host, Conan O'Brien. By 2010, the aspiring celebrity would find success in the TV show Louis, after which he would go on to win the 2012 and 2014 Emmy Awards. But staying true to the theme, his career and fame would not last as long as anyone had expected it to. In 2013, CK would appear in an interview with his former employer on Late Night with Conan O'Brien. O'Brien opens a conversation about the writing job that his guest had with the show, suggesting he was either the second or third writer hired as part of the original staff. The pair reminisce over those days, recalling how young they were and how they didn't expect to become figures they ended up being several years later. CK tells O'Brien that he was a good boss who put all his effort into keeping the show going. The host, though, remembers things a bit differently. He recalls getting into minor arguments and disagreements with his writers, and CK reveals the reason behind it. He jokingly explains how they could easily bully him into doing things on the show that he didn't want to do. The first implication of what was to become of the comedian. In response to these admissions, O'Brien jokingly states that he clearly should have fired CK. The comment was followed by an eruption of laughter, but things wouldn't be so funny 4 years later. O'Brien didn't know it at the time, but his comment about CK being fired was about to ring true, and it came in the wake of the Me Too movement, bringing us back to that first implication of bullying people to get what they want. It was in 2017 when rumors began to soar across social media, only to be detailed in the New York Times article that hosted the accounts of 5 women, each accusing the celebrity of inappropriate behavior and misconduct. He would bully and intimidate female comedians into watching particular acts that they would rather not have witnessed, an aspect that's now a centerpiece of CK's marred legacy. Following the accusations in the media, he came forward to confess to these distressing stories, admitting that they were true, and that he wielded the power he had in an irresponsible manner, a behavioral pattern he undertook from the very start of his career as a writer. Number 5. After starting his career in music in the Puerto Rican boy band Menudo when he was just a teenager, Ricky Martin would explode onto the pop charts with his hit song Livin' La Vida Loca. Following his brief affiliation with Menudo, Martin would eventually become a solo artist. He was featured on the cover of Time magazine and credited with growing the Latin culture influence on America's mainstream pop music. By 2000, he was nominated in 4 categories at the Grammy Awards. But fame doesn't come without a price. That price is often privacy, or a lack thereof. Celebrities, as they become ingrained in the entertainment industry, are forced to give up that one basic human right, a right recognized in international law. Paparazzi, journalists, news programs, and talk show hosts have all been found in violation of respecting one's privacy. Such was the case in 2000, when Martin had an unfortunate meetup with Barbara Walters, an American broadcast journalist and television personality. The interview came at a time when rumors were abound regarding Martin's romantic preferences. In the interview, Walters decides to go straight into the subject head first, obviously with the intention of breaking a big story. The singer's response to the interviewer's mention of the rumors was not what she was expecting. He simply stated that one's romantic interests should be something that everyone's comfortable with. Not getting what she hoped for, Walters presses the matter further and proposes that he could put a stop to these rumors if he were to either confirm or deny them. Martin thanked his host for giving him the opportunity to express himself regarding the rumors, but he didn't feel like talking about them. In 2010, the singer finally let the cat out of the bag, revealing his romantic interests publicly and subsequently marrying painter Juan Youssef. Despite the warming revelation, the celebrity wasn't left without an impact from his 2000 interview with Walters. From 2018, he began speaking about the interview, revealing that he felt extremely violated by Walters and her insistence on the topic despite his clear repulsion from it. Martin now supposedly suffers from PTSD as a result of the pressure that was placed on him when he wasn't ready to inform the public. He was afraid, at that moment, of just the very mention of those rumors. The Barbara Walters and Ricky Martin interview stand as a testament to what celebrities face almost daily when it comes to privacy. It shows how such violations can affect individuals in such a way that can leave them permanently traumatized and suffering from PTSD. Number 4. Many quirky personalities dominated that 70s show, but many viewers found themselves landing on a common favorite, Stephen Hyde, an adolescent who was suspicious of the government and similar organizations. Though he started off as the less intelligent individual than the rest of the group, he soon takes on the role of the smart, tough guy, but he's often undermined by his refusal to apply himself more. His witty, blunt, and sarcastic sense of humor made him one of the more likable characters in the show. Behind Stephen Hyde was actor Danny Masterson, who's since been at the center of much controversy that has undoubtedly forced us to view the sitcom very differently. Amid his rise to fame through the show, Masterson would find himself sitting in the comfortable chairs on several studio stages, chatting with the host. In 2004, he sat down on Late Night with Conan O'Brien for an interview with the media personality. The interview starts off with some light chatter, with the two speaking about general things, the sitcom, Masterson's sideburns, and even basketball. Toward the end of the interview, though, things seem to take a bit of a dive when the actor starts making some inappropriate comments unprovoked. Masterson was putting on a Long Island accent, mimicking his friend Bodie Elfman. He makes an inappropriate comment in this voice, in jest, which is well received by the audience and the host. Between the chuckles, though, O'Brien says something chilling. "I've heard about you, and you'll be caught soon. I know you will." Despite this strange comment from the host, the interview continues as normal, but many couldn't shake the sinister feeling accompanied by that interview. It wouldn't be until years later that they would figure out why. It all began in March of 2017, when Masterson faced serious allegations of assault. The accusations came from 3 women who claimed that he was guilty of misconduct during the early 2000s, possibly even during the time that he appeared on that interview. The severity of the claims would prompt an investigation by the Los Angeles Police Department. Following the later allegations from a 4th woman, the public increased the pressure on law enforcement, forcing them to take legal action. As the claims continued to mount, Masterson was facing professional repercussions. By that December, he would be written off of the Netflix comedy series The Ranch, and the production continued without him. The actor, though, maintained his innocence, denying every allegation made against him. By 2019, he'd be facing 4 civil lawsuits. The victims also took legal action against the Church of Scientology, of which the actor was associated. In May of that year, the Los Angeles County Superior Court judge determined that the evidence that had been presented in court was credible and was enough to put the case to trial. Masterson was ordered to give up his passport and was scheduled for his arraignment. Again, the accused pleaded not guilty. Another trial was set for 2022, during which Masterson would decline to testify. His legal team even refused to call any witnesses to the stand, leading to a mistrial. Adamant to catch him, another court appearance was arranged. After several weeks of deliberation, the verdict was finally out. In May of 2023, Masterson was found guilty of 2 accounts of assault, awarding him 30 years to life in prison and ending his career. Since the start of the very beginning of the accusations, that Conan O'Brien interview has found itself back in the public eye and serves as a chilling remark on what the future held for the young actor. Number 3. Corey Feldman's career started off at a very young age. He was just 3 years old when he landed his first gig, which was in a Clio award-winning McDonald's commercial. Since then, he sustained a lengthy career working as an actor, with more than 80 films under his belt. He's guest-starred in television series and secured a regular part on the sitcom The Bad News Bears. From 1978 to 2023, he dominated the TV screen and still stands in the spotlight even today. Because he has so much experience in the entertainment industry, it's obvious that he's seen all there is to see regarding behind-the-scenes goings-on. It turns out he's seen more than he wanted or could have ever bargained for, and he may have revealed what those things were in an interview back in 2013. That year, Corey had just released his memoir, Choreography, and appeared at an interview with The View to promote it. But his book contained something quite unexpected: the exposure of abuse within the entertainment industry. As they discussed these elements within the group of several individuals, including co-host Barbara Walters, the conversation took a sinister turn. Corey begins to express that there are people present within the industry who will and have taken advantage of young actors, and he was living proof of it. Corey and a childhood actor friend of his were both subjected to this mistreatment, and he was ready to expose it all. He explains how these individuals face zero repercussions. They're still working, and are some of the biggest, richest, and most powerful individuals present within the workplace. Walters, wanting some clarity, asked if he was alleging that these individuals are predators, to which he gave a daunting yes. Sitting next to Corey was Sherry Shepard, an American comedian and actress, who asked the actor what he would say to parents who were watching the segment and thinking of putting their children into such a career. Corey explains that there are a lot of layers to the situation, and to be careful what they wish for. He warns that they shouldn't enter this path with naivety and rose-colored glasses. Before he can finish, though, Walters interrupts him and states that he's damaging an entire industry with these accusations. The interview eventually concluded, and the entire thing was seemingly forgotten. That was until 2017. That year, having established roots since 2006, the Me Too movement began. It inspired many who'd stayed silent to speak about the abuses and assaults they had faced. Not only did it expose ordinary citizens and business places to harassment, but it also brought several celebrities under fire, several of whom would be canceled, fired, or imprisoned as a result thereof. The movement also drew attention to the magnitude of the problem and rehashed the warning signs that had been there all along. One such sign is The View interview with Corey Feldman, exposing the entire entertainment industry and its abuse of power. Number 2. Before the events of 2020 forced the authorities to prevent the distribution of medical misinformation, we had the Dr. Oz show. Hosted by Dr. Mehmet Oz, it centers around health and wellness. It addresses viewers' concerns over several different topics, from disease to weight loss. Dr. Oz offers genuine, supposedly expert medical advice to the viewers and answers questions on diet and exercise. The show, despite its wide range of topics, seems to focus more on weight, leading the doctors to suggest a variety of dietary miracle weight loss supplements. In 2017, the Turkish-American surgeon would appear in an interview with the IAB, the Interactive Advertising Bureau. His reason for being interviewed was to warn viewers about the dangers of false advertising. Dr. Oz suggests that these lie-riddled ads are exposing a very rotten underbelly of the business, built on corruption. He goes on to say that in today's world, we're allowing fake narratives to spread digitally through ads, fake news, social media posts, and television, essentially conning the public into buying things or applying for services that aren't what they thought they were. This very interview, in the wake of not only the 2020 crisis, but personal revelations that have been made against Dr. Oz, now plays out as not only disturbing, but also disingenuous. Throughout his career on the chat show, the doctor suggested a great variety of treatments, specifically for weight loss. This included green coffee bean extract, which he once named the magic weight loss cure. The claim, though, was unsupported by medical information, and he was forced to retract the comment due to the flawed data. The company behind the product, which Dr. Oz should have thoroughly investigated, was subsequently charged with false advertising. The surgeon once called raspberry ketone the #1 miracle fat burner. Ketone is a compound found within the berry that's never been controlled or tested on human beings. There's no specific scientific proof it could ever even work for such reasons. The newest Fattest Fatbusters episode peddled the idea of Garcinia cambogia extract being used for weight loss. Despite a controlled test, the results were mixed, making it an unreliable suggestion. The African mango diet pill also came up on the show, but studies proved that the effects of this pill were non-existent and it should not be recommended to someone trying to lose weight. Dr. Oz has since been met with criticism for suggesting medications and treatments without the necessary medical research to back them up. One wrong move could have landed someone in the hospital, or worse. Number 1. The Franco brothers have bad boy pasts. This is the title of an interview from The Late Late Show with James Corden, in which he interviews the brothers. Little did he know how true that statement really was. The name James Franco prompts flashes from Spider-Man scenes, where he plays the role of Peter Parker's best friend, Harry Osborn, who later descends into a villainous role. From there, he cemented his role as the Casanova of Hollywood, earning himself reservations on talk shows like The Late Late Show with James Corden. The host prompts a conversation about past bad behavior by asking if he's correct in saying that they weren't always as well behaved as they appear to be. Turns out that during his school days, Franco was guilty of selling stolen cologne to students. He admitted to Corden that it was incredibly easy to take these perfume bottles, suggesting that he would go into the mall, to Macy's or other such stores, and grab the unboxed tester bottles. They would then sell these from their school lockers, somehow avoiding suspicion. Selling stolen cologne, though, wouldn't be the worst thing that Franco could do, and he wasn't able to evade suspicion for long. Come 2018, the actor would be placed under intense scrutiny following allegations of misconduct. At the time, he outright denied the claims, only to be forced into settling a class action lawsuit 3 years later. Eventually, Franco would have to acknowledge his bad boy behavior that involved an acting school that he co-owned. It turns out his childhood reputation followed him into adulthood, where if he wants something, he takes it. The actor stated that he was guilty of coercing students at the acting school into romantic involvement. During his admission, he stated that at the time he believed it was a consensual act, despite the clear imbalance of power. 2 former students would ultimately lead the lawsuit, claiming that the actor exploited them in an inappropriate way. They were also victims of fraud during their studies. The students, Sarah Tither Kaplan and Tony Gall, chose to represent a class of over 100 female students. They explained that Franco and 2 other men would make use of a specific class relating to romantic scenes to exploit women. Instead of teaching aspiring actresses to navigate such scenes professionally, they were ultimately manipulated into carrying out intimate scenes, uncovered, which was entirely unnecessary and a clear example of the abuse of power that celebrities often engage in, including our most supported and favorite actors. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But my name is Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.